Alright, let's get started. So welcome everyone. I hope everyone's doing well. We're going to continue off where we were last time, essentially designing stuff. I had a little playthrough on, I think, Sunday, but I didn't do much. It was more wireframe type of stuff. However, I came across a couple of ideas with it, so I'm going to try and implement that today. We're also probably hopefully going to the view routing. I want to test all of that. How that's all set up and how that combines with everything. We're also going to be looking at accessibility and potentially internationalization. So yeah, once again, we're welcomed here by Socks. She's like, hey, camera's down here, sweetie. There we go. All right. She's like, oh yeah, do you wanna have a look at the camera? Yep, there we go. All right. So we're just gonna jump straight into it today. I'm just making sure all the chat options are up. All right, cool. Let's get into it. So yeah, this horrible color system, we're definitely going to change that in a second. I'm going to try and aim for some proper coloring. So people look at this and aren't like, ugh. Which, all right, fair enough. You can do that. I won't blame you if you did that. All right, so the first thing I want to do is let's just get rid of the colors. I'm just going to close everything. We're going to start from afresh. We're going to minimize everything. We're going to open up NearBeach. We're going to open up our source. It looks like we have set up the router in here, but we haven't actually created any of the routes, and that's perfectly fine. I'm not going to touch that yet. We also do have the stores, whether or not the sidebar's open and stuff like that. That's perfectly fine. I'm not going to touch that. We do have the components, the nav bar and the sidebar. We also got the app in here. Yeah, I know, Socks. So first things first, let's get rid of the colors with the background and stuff like that. I'm just going to do white at the moment. Okay, simple, easy. We'll come back to it. We'll pick some proper coloring and so forth like that later. We'll also need to deal with. Okay, no, but yeah, we'll need to deal with the input color. But that's pretty easy to do. So I just need to find the search bar. Placeholder text. The gray works. The color here, white. I'm just going to pick black for the moment. It's perfectly fine like that. Once again, we'll be having a look at this properly once I get the layout done. All right, cool. So the navbar's fine. Let's go with the sidebar. Once again, I'm just getting rid of all the colors. We're just going to go white for the moment. All right, I'm just definitely getting rid of the hot pink. Actually, I'm going to get rid of that. So it's all like that for the moment. That's perfectly fine. Yes, all right. I'm quite happy with that. Cool. So what we want to do, I'm just going to balance those up there. And what I've done is I've moved these into their own component when I was playing around with this, and that way I had more control over the CSS and so forth like that in here. The idea being is all of these will be a single component. They'll be connected to a router and all that kind of fun stuff. Oh, we've got an ad break in progress. All right, cool. I'm just going to go here. How's everyone doing? So I'm also trying to remember what I was doing. well, what I did. So I just opened up something very, very quickly yesterday, and I was playing around with it. I added a border. I also added the ability to add in new objects and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm just trying to remember everything, which is annoyingly hard at times. So yeah. Alright, Socks has been a good girl today. She's like, I'm always a good girl. Yeah, no, you're not. Alright. Yeah, it's only a couple more seconds left of the ad break. Alright, welcome back everyone. So yeah, I'm going to move these into their own component. There's a reason being for that. So over here with the components, I'm just going to create a directory. I'm just going to call one side. And I'm just going to start moving stuff in there. I'm also going to create a folder called navbar. I'm just going to put that in there, and we're all happy with that. So in here, I'm going to do a view component. We're going to have it as an options API. Composition API, my bad. And what we're going to do is we're going to call it sidebar item dot view. So in here, what we need to do is we need to let it'll be const props equals define props like so, and then I'm going to pass through route. That's going to be of type string, and for some strange reason, hello world. We're just going to put that in. And Nocturnal, how are you going? Hopefully you're going well. Import define props from view. I know what I'm doing. I'm doing something stupid. I need to do that. All right, cool. Const props equals define props. And then in here, we want to do, I'm going to start off with, I'll do the route first. So we'll do the route. It'll be type string default is going to be that. Required. I'm going to get rid of the default. And the reason being is if we got required, it means someone's going to have to put it in. If I just have a default, it means someone might forget it and the default falls onto the dashboard and it's going to cause a lot of problems. So there's the route, and then we go route new. And then what we want is type is going to be string, default is going to be nothing, and then required is going to be false. This one, not so much. If someone's someone doesn't put this in, we're fine with that. And I'm going to put it in a case where if it is a default of nothing, we're going to not do anything with it. Yeah, I'm doing good. I did my strength test today with the shoulder and stuff like that. So this is going to be a bit of bragging. I'll bring up a diagram. All right. I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to scoot this over here. Can I just give you the full screen? All right. It isn't as complicated as this, but essentially with the strength test, it's done on a cable machine. A bit different one to this, but that's perfectly fine. The method is exactly the same. Essentially, I had all the weights on. So the idea being is you won't be able to lift it. And then on the cable itself at a particular point, usually towards where this thing is, there's a little force meter that takes the Newton force, Newton meters, I think, or something like that. Anyway, you pull on it, it records a value. and stuff like that. And the good news is they do it on your right and your left, so we can see the difference between both of them. Good news is I've been improving, apart from one thing where I've improved more on the right than I have in the left, which is a bit weird, and I'm like, oh, all right, I need to sort of up the left side. But what's even funnier, we had all the weights on. I've done a seated row with my right arm, and I've been able to lift all those weights. And I'm like, oh, I didn't realize I was that strong on the right arm. So, yeah. I'm doing good. I just have to say that because I'm bragging about it. Alright, and then we want the title to come through. This will be type of string. We're also going to do required equals true because I want the person to put in a value. Otherwise, it's just going to cause an issue. Alright, so if we go into view routing, stuff like that. I'm just going to go into the quick start. We're going to scroll down to their examples. Copen demo. Hang on. I might have the wrong documentation open. Yeah, I've got the wrong documentation open. All right. So for view router 3, for view 2, no. We need this. I just need the documentation. Easy done. I do believe we've already got it installed. I'm just going to go straight into the guide. We're just going to zoom in. I'm going to do that so you guys can actually read as well as I can. We are just going to go with the getting started. This is what I need. Just these two. And then what I'm going to do over here is I'm just going to paste them in like so. We're just going to do something like that. We're going to do something like that. We'll probably need some computer stuff in here, but not a problem. We'll fix that up in a minute. Now, I'm gonna start doing... No, it doesn't like that. All right, cool. I'm gonna start doing this. So we've got the two, and then what I need to do is I'll do props dot route. And in here too is I'll also need to do class equals, and then we'll do something with the class, but I need the computed stuff. So I need to go up to line 2. I need to open up this. I need to go import. I need those two. So we do the props first. Let me do that. Then I'm 2-3 computed. Sorry, I'm not quite fully used to the compositional API yet, but that's not a problem. Yeah, that's the old way. Again, all the old way. I gotta flip it. All right. So reactive, yada yada yada. That's okay. Reactive computed, cool. So yeah, we just need a computed in there, and it's a const. Yep. All right. Cool. So what I want is const This would be... Actually, no, let's step back. This would be a sidebar menu item, like that. This would be the props.route new. And then what I want to do, I'm just going to do that for the moment. And then I'm also going to go if the route new does not equal an empty string, because we don't. If it's an empty string, it means we're not using this. So we essentially just ignore it. I'm going to leave it like that. The config. All right, give me a couple of edit config file. Tab with 4 semicolons. Oh, we did that last time. Okay, cool. I'll just undo that. That's fine. Now, with the style, a sidebar menu item. Alright, and then we can start putting stuff in here, like so. But first, I want to get this rendered out. And what I'm going to do, we're just going to comment those out for the moment. We're just going to go site. So import, and this will be sidebar. Oh, we screwed it up already. Okay. Okay. I'm just renaming stuff, not a problem. We'll fix it all up in a second. So we want sidebar item from, and then we're just going sidebar item. Easy done. So down here, what we want to do is we want to go sidebar item. We do want sort of like something like that, but also at the same time, what I want to do is I want the route to be passed through. That will be vbind. Oh, it's not. Let me do that yet. So we've got our route. And because this will be a string, we don't need to rebind it. That's perfectly fine, so we'll do something like that. We won't have a route new, but we'll have a title equals dashboard, and it'll be like that. So I'm very happy with that. Now that should, in theory, render, but we've broken something, of course. Failed to load. Does file exist? All right, cool. Yep. We'll import sidebar from add components. All right, so I've moved stuff around. I've broken stuff. There'll be a side, there'll be navbar. Alright, so that's what I've broken. If we go back into here we go. So we've got go home. I don't know where I've put the, okay. If we go into here, we've got the go home, and this is where we've got to put in the props.title. Easy done. So that just gets put into there, and that's like the dashboard, and we'll start fixing up things now. So the idea being is do a sidebar item. We'll have a route equal to so the Kanban board. So when I click on these buttons, I'm gonna instantly take the person to the search, not the new straight away. So what I want to do is I want to key in search and then Kanban board, like so, and then I want route new to be Kanban board and then new, and then I want title to be Kanban board. I'm just going to do that. So I'm just going to grab those 5 lines, going to paste them a couple of times, and we're just going to quickly edit them. So we've got the Kanban board. What we want next, I think we had requirements, projects, tasks, and requests for change. So we want requirements. So search requirement, and then in here we'll have requirement, and then we'll have requirement in here. This will be project. This will simply just be project. We should include the plurals. And task. Task, oops, just key that in like that. And then the lucky last will be request for change. This will be simply request for change. There we go. And then what we want to do is request for change. This one we're not going to worry about. These we're not going to worry about anymore because we're building this up. Don't worry about this at the moment. We'll fix this up in a second. So going in here, what we've got is we've got the menu list. We've got the aside. I'm happy with that. I'm gonna rename these. Like so. I know it's gonna have a problem, but we can fix that. Like so. Pretty quick and easy. Very easy to do. Alright. Do sidebar stores. Oh, there's our computed. Alright, give me a couple of seconds. Stores. Computed. I'm just putting these out in a particular way. So I'm happy with all of that. I'm just going to go down here. So we don't have menu items anymore, nor we should get rid of the settings too, down at the bottom. So the settings will be pretty much the same. So we'll just go sidebar item, easy done. We'll just go the route equals Yeah, that'll be it. We won't have route new. We'll have title equals settings. And we'll just do something like that. So yeah, I'm happy with that. The NearBeach logo, yeah, that's having a problem now. Alright, so all of that is fine. Cool. We definitely want that in. We definitely want the aside in. So we've got the aside class, if it's open or not. Cool. We've got the aside bar, which... I mean, there's a reason why I put it in like that. Yeah, alright, we'll keep the aside bar in. So that's perfectly fine. The logo's perfectly fine. We're happy with it. The sidebar menu. Padding top. Yeah, we're happy with it. We're happy with that. And then... Then we got the list itself. So... This is where I just got to do a quick, very quick sort of research. I think we want this on the UL. Yeah, all right. Yeah, all right, cool. Easy done. So, going back here, we want this display, flex direction column. Sweet, we're all happy with that. With these now, because we've just got two router links in here, what we actually want to do is we actually want to get rid of that. All right, cool. I want to actually create a div element. So div class equals aside bar menu, and then I'm going to have the item, and it's just going to be at this particular level. So what I want to do, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, that should be 8 then. If I paste that in like that, that should be perfectly fine. We've got this now down here where we can do stuff. We can go display, it'll be flex. Flex direction will be a row, and then if we go back into here, we've now got these all in rows. Great, awesome. The next thing we want to sort of do is deal with the decoration. And I'm just wondering if we want to do it at that level, and then I want to go text decoration is going to be none. Text line is none. No, that won't work there. Okay, yep, not a problem. What we want to do, dot aside bar menu item, and then we do something like that, and we're dealing with the A tags underneath. Hang on. I didn't like that at all. Aside bar menu item. Okay. All right, that worked. I'm happy with that. So text text decoration is going to be none. What we'll do. I think that's it. I think that's basically it for the moment. Another prop which I forgot to put in is current. That is going to be type clean, and default is going to be false. Easy done. And what we can do with that is we can sort of style which one's current or not. This is also where we would use the computed stuff. So we want to import the computed from Vue. Sweet. We want to go all the way after props. We want to go computed. In here, what we want to do, const, and then define class equals computed. Just do something like that very, very quickly. We need to return something. So it'll be return props.isCurrent. All right, I'm gonna go const class equal const base class equals, and we're just gonna paste in that because we're fine with it. And then we'll return, and depending on the props.isCurrent, if it is base class plus current, otherwise it's just going to be base class. Easy done. That can be done in one line. Just wondering if there is. I think that's the better way of doing it, and the reason being is we might want to actually change this class name and so forth like that. It's just changing it in one spot and referring it everywhere else. So down here, this then becomes define class, and we're happy with that. So this also needs to go away. I'm gonna go over here, and yeah, so far I'm happy with that. All right, cool. Next thing is let's start styling those buttons and so forth like that. We'll also get this plus and put it over there. Another thing which I might end up doing is a hover effect, depending on a couple of situations and so forth like that. So yeah. Yeah, let's just jump straight into it. Okay, we're actually happy with that. What we want to do is we want to now add in a border. It's going to be 1 pixel solid. We're just going to pick black at the moment. We're just going to keep it simple and easy like that. As you see, everything's really crushed in together. We don't want that. What we also want now is we want some padding. I'm going to pick, let's say 10, let's say 10 pixels. Okay, that gives a little bit more. That's a little bit better. What I want to do is, this is just me playing around with this. I'm just going to go 8 pixels for either side. Okay. Margin, bottom, we're going to say 10 pixels. There we go. They're all separated and all that kind of stuff. I'm happy with that. What we also want to do is, oh, we've hit an ad break, so let's go over here. Yeah, hopefully everyone's going well tonight. Yeah, so I'm going to quickly redesign this. We're not going to worry. What's the matter, socks? Yeah, once again, we're not going to worry too much about the colors. I'm stripping all that back. I'm just focusing on layout and look and feel, more of a wireframe type of situation. Then I feel worried about colors. So yeah, the dreaded colors, because I always pick the worst colors possible. I could have a list of really nice fancy colors and I will just pick the worst ones. So yeah. Alright. This music's very slow tonight. I might skip ahead. Or I might do this one. Alright, cool. Hopefully that's a little bit better. Anyway, let's jump right back into it. We're just waiting. 3, 2, 1. Alright, cool. Welcome back, everyone. So yeah, we've got all this sort of set up at the moment. What I want to do is I then want to do border radius. I'm going to stick with 5 pixels for the moment. I mean, sure, that works. I'm fine with that. Now, the other thing which I want to actually do is, instead of solid black, I'm going to say gray. It hasn't come through yet. There we go, that's a little bit better. And I'm going to gray out all of those other ones too. So what I want to do, color, I'm just going to go gray. So there's still, you can still read it. Oops. Oh, I just refreshed my screen, but that's perfectly fine. Oh, so these, text decoration. All right, so that doesn't, if I do that and that, cool. And then if I do color down here, does that pass through? It looks like it doesn't. All right, not a problem. We just need to put it there. All right, so the idea is I want to have it so that what am I trying to think of? I don't know. I want to have it so that the user knows which page they are on, if that makes any sense. The idea being is we'll have these sort of dullish and so forth like that, but we'll have one that stands out. Now I'm pretty sure that border doesn't look great. Let's just jump straight into it. Side menu, it is gray. Light gray. All right. We'll figure out a new color for the border. So much better. All right, cool. And what we want to do is we're going to have a sidebar menu item, and if it's current, we're going to change a few things. So the border is going to be 1 pixel solid black. Actually, what we could potentially do is border color, not like gray. We're going to go full on black. We're also going to go background color, and we're going to pick a very light blue. And what I want to do is on the side of things, we're only going to do this for this one up here is current equals, I'm just going to put true. We want to actually do it something like that. So yeah, I do want it at the end like that. We definitely don't want to open up that. I am just going to refresh. Ooh, is current. I'm just going to go into the dev toolboards for a second. It is passing through current equals true. Have I screwed up the compute in here? I'm going to find out. Let's... Oh no, it's adding the thing in. Oh, what's the matter, socks? Whoa, 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 whoa. Yeah, hold on. Yes, I'm trying to lift you up. Yes, I know. There we go. All right, so it is adding the class. We've just got the CSS wrong, which is fine. So down here, it is having a problem. Now, this is part of the computed stuff. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to put current in there. There we go. All right, cool. Now I picked like great. I thought I did like cyan. Still not. All right, cool. And what we want to do probably is we'll pick a blue. Okay. Once again, I'm not set on these colors. These are just placeholders for the moment. Just to sort of convey information. Now, I can also see that in the nav bar, we are not porting through. There we go, Morgana. The idea being is if I click on any of these particular routes, it'll change and it'll update and we'll all be happy. I also want to do a hover effect. So the idea is when we hover over any of these, we get a certain effect. So we're going to go down here. We are going to essentially create a new line. Actually, it's going to be the same as this. So we're going to go a sidebar menu item, and we're going to do a hover. I'm just going to do a comma like so. This should be all done perfect like that. So the user knows, all right, cool. There's some sort of haptic feedback for that. The next thing I want to do is I want to separate these. So what I want to do is I'm going to go and say class equals sidebar menu search or item search, and down here I'm just going to go class equals a sidebar menu item new. Cool. And that's, and then we just fill out those down here. So we're happy with that. This can be done at the very, very end. This can be a sidebar menu item search. What that's going to be is width. That's going to be a simple calculate, 100% minus 20 pixels, and then if we do a side, new, if we do the width, and then we do 20 pixels. All right, so that gives us something like that. And if we have a look at this width, it's about 20 pixels. That should work. Now the next thing that I need to actually fix is I need to move the padding. The reason being is if I do something like a sidebar menu item new hover and I go background color, now if I pick another blue, not deep sky blue or cornflower blue, let's have a look at cornflower blue. And I do that, notice how it happens there, and I'm just like, no, that shouldn't happen there. So what we're going to do is we're going to modify a little these paddings and stuff like that. So we would want to get rid of the padding, and then what I would want to do is I would want to apply a height. We'll start off at 25 pixels. We'll keep going up till we're happy. I think 36 is good. So we're going to go over here. We're going to get rid of padding. We're going to put in our height. We're going to say 36 pixels. So that gives us that. And you're probably wondering, oh, why are you doing that? Well, because these A's, what we can do is we can certainly play around with the pixels in here, like so. We can also do margin auto. We can do margin auto. The idea being is, but the problem is with margin auto, we can't exactly fit it like that. Yeah, so the next thing is we could do padding. I'm going to say 10 pixels 0. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this height. All right. This will make sense in a couple of minutes. So if I do 10 pixels and 0, actually, we want it to bounce off that wall a little bit. I'm going to do 5 pixels, 10 pixels, and 0. And then we just increase that. Ooh. Oh, I've got that around the wrong way. All right. So yeah, if we do it at that, we'll have a little bit more control. Oh yeah, I like that. Okay, cool. And I'll need to remove the current stuff, but that's fine. All right, cool. I'm getting rid of the height. What we're doing is we've got the aside menu bar A. This will be for both of those. And I'm gonna change this. Sidebar menu item new. All right, cool. So that should give us more power. And then what I want to do is padding. We want 10 pixels at the top. On the right, we don't want any. And then 10 pixels and 10 pixels. All right, cool. If I hit refresh, everything's working how we want it to. And then we've got this instantly working too. So
yeah, I think. All right, we have a pixel
bleed. I'm gonna need to add the border in there too. So what we want to do, that will be the current. We just need the border radius for these two. And border radius will actually be different for both of them. So border radius for the item search, we don't need it to round over here or anything like that. Actually, it's only this one we need to worry about. All right, cool. This will be for the new. And what I'll do is I'll show you what I mean. If we comment that out and we put in border radius, let's say 50%. We go up here. All right, sweet. This is just over exaggeration. If I do that, you can actually see that it doesn't match the border radius exactly. And that's what we're kind of got to do. All right, so down here, what we want to do is border radius. Now doing 5 pixels won't work, because if we go back into here, you'll notice that the border radius happens on those two left. So we're going to go 0, 5 pixels, 5 pixels, 0. So 0, 5 pixels, 5 pixels, 0. And then if we go into here, you'll, oh, it just doesn't want to do it. It just, I'm gonna knock those down to 4.
Cool. That is looking great.
All right, so it's looking a lot better. Another thing I might do is we've got this padding top. No, it doesn't look nice when it. No, all right, cool. I won't touch that. I'll leave that alone. So now all we need to do is we need to just start putting in all these routes and so forth like that. It looks like they're working really well. All right. And another thing we've got to do is we've got to add in the ability for it to collapse too. Yeah. All right, folks. What are you doing? So, I also want to add in the icons, and I wrote down the icons that I was looking at. So give me a couple of seconds. I've just got to check out my Kindle. How are you doing with time? Okay, we've just done a bit over an hour. All right, notepad. I did a lot of note taking, a lot of reading on the weekend and so forth like that. So yeah, I prepared my Kindle, organized all the folders. I took notes of what I should actually go into depth and read. We'll also have a look at fonts and stuff like that today. Yeah. All right, no, that's component layout. Axios, no. View frontend, no. Frontend. I thought I had one just for icons. Give me a couple of secs. Socks your tail. At least I thought it was in this document. Front-end transitions, view front-end. Yep, all right, cool. Questions, how are we going to... All right, I might have done it in the question section. How are we going to apply this? Oh, and that's, yeah, there's a bunch of things that I want to sort of apply and play around with at the same time. The idea, once again, this is just meant to be mock-up sort of thing. This is meant to be me playing around with stuff, and then once we're happy with how everything's moving forward, we'll iterate and get more serious. Once again, we'll probably do a vertical slice of 0.32. The reason being is we want to sort of do all the best practices and so forth like that, test and get feedback on that vertical slice. And the reason being is if we've got a problem in that vertical slice, we're only fixing that vertical slice. We're not fixing everything. It's just time saving. And then, yeah, once we're happy with that vertical slice, it should, touch wood, we should be able to sort of port what we've done very, very quickly everywhere else. I don't foresee me rewriting a lot of the components that we already have. If we can reuse most of the code, it should be fine. There might be a bit of moving stuff around, but hey, it should be fine. Famous last words. So, yeah. Which icon sets are we going to employ? How will the icons work within the system? Lucid. Alright, cool. Lucid. Or Lucid as a potential solution. Alright, cool. So I'm just going to zoom in. I'm going to do this so you guys can see. Quite a lot. Available icons, complete set, code usability, accessibility, icons instead of pictures showing something means without words. Alright, cool. However, not everyone can do it. Read more on how to. Ooh, alright, cool. Okay, cool. Accessibility is also something that we're going to tackle too. And we definitely want to actually fix that in NearBeach. Let's just say NearBeach needs a lot of work on accessibility. So, official packages, React Vue 3. All right, cool. So we need to add it in. How to use is built with the ES, so it's completely tree shaken. Each icon can be imported as a Vue component, which, all right, cool. This way, only icons that are imported into Project are included in the final bundle. The rest of the icons are tree shaken away. All right, sweet, cool. Size, color, stroke width. Yeah, this just looks a lot easier to do. So what I want to do, I want to copy this. Let me copy. We're going to go over here. We're going to stop this. We're going to go npm install into the dev branch. There we go. It is done. Npm run dev. It just boots up. So now the thing is, if we have these aside items, I don't know how I'm going to pass down the icon, which is annoying, because yeah, it's kind of like that. Alright, not a problem. We'll just look it up. Vue 3 pass component down through. That's problem. Charge the import. Yep. Alright. down as prop. There's definitely a way. Definitely a way. Let's find props, yep. Ugh. Got a bit of cat hair then. Sorry about that. I'm just going to do that. And the reason being is I want to see it pop up. It doesn't. Alright, so if we hit refresh, it doesn't pop up. If we go into that dashboard, yeah, there's nothing that pops through there. So view 3, component, pass. No. And this is what our old method used to work around and so forth like that, because we could just call it. However, that being said, I keep dropping this pen. I want to do things roughly. So view 3, pass component as prop. I don't think that's plausible. All right, cool. In view 2, the app. Let's say we have components A, B, and C. Yep. All right, cool. So we've got template A, B, child component C. All right, cool. All right, component child is a component. All right, script. Input B from view. Yep. All right, component B. Slot. Oh, all right. That's probably what I need. Let's have a look here. So we've got fancy button and click me, and then button class fancy slot. And then, this is what I want. All right, cool. So if I go into here, I go down and I go slot. We go over here, we got the hello world. All right, and that's just hello world like that. Actually, I still want that slot in there like that. I'm just trying to think now. We might need to pass down some class information and so forth like that. If I go in here in the slot, I don't know if I can go icon in here. I'm just seeing what we can actually potentially do, and then if I do this, we've got the hello world. We don't actually have any class information on that. So, this would be a sidebar menu icon, and then in here it will be slot. Let's have a look. We've still got the hello world there. We've now got control of what we're putting through it. So what I want to do is in here, we want to, of course, get rid of this hello world stuff. We now want to actually have a look at these icons. So I'm just going to move those down. I think that's what I wanted. So we just got to import. This is as simple as this. I'm just going to pick this icon randomly. We can go icons in here. We can do that. And then down here, we can just go camera. Cool. And presto. Cool. I'm happy. We can modify this. Not going to be a problem. Ad break. Sorry, there is another ad break actually happening. Another thing we could potentially do is I'm trying to think what I could potentially do. Because if someone clicks on that, I still want them to go to that hyperlink and so forth like that. And I don't want to set up all that other. Yeah, right. Oh no, I have a solution. All right, cool. Yep, I have a solution, a potential solution. Let's see what actually happens. So yeah, the idea being is because we've got A tags for the routes and stuff like that. Currently, that icon is not included. We might need to move that into somewhere else, and then deal with it there. Quick 2-second tests. We can do this. In fact, in about 5 seconds, we will. Yeah, the ad breaks will be finished very shortly. All right, welcome back, everyone. So let's jump back into it. So, yeah, the problem is this icon doesn't have any of the A tag stuff on it. So what I want to do is down here, I'm just going to go slot. I'm just going to end the slot there. We're just going to get rid of those 3 slots. This is getting a bit messy. We'll clean it up. In fact, oh god, it looks horrible. I'm ugh. All right, give me. Sorry, I'm just going through the docs. We want options. I'm just going to go view, pretty options, attributes on lines. All right, cool. Perfect. All right, cool. Wrap attributes. So I'm going to fix this up. There's something. All right. Send pass the text letter. All right, cool. No. All right. Configuration file. Setting the parser options. We had this the other day. Oh no, I didn't want that. API. No. All right, options. Configure. All right. Print with tab, semicolons, quotes. Quotes, we got it as a single, I think. Quote props. JS trailing commas, always. Object wrap. Keep as multi-line. Configure prettier wraps, object literals when they could fit on one or more multiple lines. By default, Prettier formats multi-lines if the new line is prior to that. All right, cool. I am definitely gonna go keep it multi-line if there's new lines. All right, cool. Sorry, yeah, I'm just gonna edit this because this is parser view. Oh yeah, it is on. So we did view, same as HTML, but formats and view specific syntax, first of all. All right, cool, we got that. All right, let's not spend I'm getting distracted. Let's not spend too much time on that. So this is ugly. We'll come back and fix it, and we'll make sure the parser does new attributes and new lines and stuff. So in here, you can see it's almost sort of lining up. It's getting pretty close. If we actually have a look at this, we could potentially send through attributes and so forth like that to sort of shrink it. We might, I don't think it's, the margin auto won't work in this sort of case. We might need to translate, transition, translate. I'm not worried about that too much. So we can get the icons through. That's not going to be a problem. All right, I'm happy with that. Why has it split it? So it's like absolute. In reality, this should be like this, readable. Got conditions at the top, you got your usual attributes, and then you got your view attributes. That's readable. All right. Just me going against the linter again. Okay, so we got the slot, we got the title, we're happy with that. I'm not going to use camera. We are going to quickly pick a couple of icons. So let's go into our icons. First would be dashboard. So we've got to pick a dashboard. I like the dashboard one. So this will be just the dashboard. Going up here. Oops. Let's go dashboard. Layout dashboard. All right, cool. Do a quick eye as a layout dashboard. Yeah, I don't have that one. Alright, layout dashboard. Alright, let's just copy that. Let's go down here. Let's just go layout dashboard. Done. We're happy with that. Let's have a look at what it looks like. Sweet. It's clearly not fitting in very well, but once again, we'll fix this up very, very quickly. All right. Kanban board. Oops, sorry about that. Now that's surrounded by something. Okay, square Kanban board. And then we just go down here, we just get rid of this, we put that back into there, we go down here, we do that, and then we go square Kanban board, and we just leave it like that. The next thing we got to do is the requirements. So if I go requirement in here, there's nothing in here, so require, nothing. We could do requirements as something like this, the layout list, or we've got a clipboard list. I'm tossing up between the two. I'm gonna go clipboard list for the moment. Doing this, doing that, then doing clipboard list, and then finishing all of that off. Easy done. We'll bump that onto a new line, and we'll bump that over there. It's just screwing up like that. All right, cool. Cool. Let's jump over here. So I haven't got the Kanban board working yet. The projects. Oh, I've mucked things up. All right, no, I've mucked things up. Now it's meant to go there. That is meant to go in here with, oops, that like that, and then do something like that just to make it readable. There we go. Once again, I'll fix all of this up, and then we've got project. All right, in here like so. With project, what do we want to do? I mean, we could do this one. We could do folder open. Right, in here, folder open. Icon, cool, easy done. Scrolling back down here. So this will be project, and then we'll need folder, open icon. We're happy with that. The next one will be task. Sorry, my phone keeps going off. Just making sure that it isn't. All right, cool. Task. I like this list to do. Oh, I think that's just. Not 100% sure. We'll find out in a minute when everything gets corrected. So we want to bump like that, bump like that, and then we want to do list to do. We also just want to do something like that. All right, cool. And then what we want to do is the request for change. So I think I don't know why, but this, the replace all, feels like it's meant to go there. Just the instant I saw it. So we're going to go replace all down here. We're just going to bump that like that. We're going to do that, and we're going to go replace all. We are going to bump it like that. We're just going to do something like that. All right, cool, sweet. So in here, we've got all of these icons now. Awesome. We might play around with this now, but those are the icons I want to do. I also want to get rid of this icon up here and actually have the same sort of set of icons that we're using. And we're going to do settings too. Can't forget about settings. So the usual gear. You know what? I like the cog. Go the cog. Scroll down here. I'm just going to get rid of that like that, and I'm just going to write in cog. In fact, I'm going to do something like that and be like, yep, that's it. There's the cog. Now, none of these icons are working in the sense that, yeah, you can see they're they're too high and all that kind of fun stuff. That plus, oh, we've also got to do a plus too. Diff. But the plus will go down here. And what we'll do is we'll go import, they've just got it as plus from, alright, cool. We'll scroll all the way down where we need it, and we'll need it here, and we'll just go plus and leave it like that for the moment. Alright, cool. Now it looks horrible. Perfect. Alright. So I want to get those icons fitting correctly. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to focus on the plus because that's going to affect all of them right away, and it's going to deal with less code. So I'm just going to go span, and I am just going to grab them. I'm just going to surround them, do something like that. Whoops, I'm going to random J, do all of that. Alright, cool. So these should now be in spans, which won't give me control, but it gives me other things I can do. I think I know what's going wrong. All right. Cool. I just noticed something. We've got padding on that one. So this particular padding is only meant to go in the search. So unless we change all the padding to, unless we do all that, that works perfectly fine. All right, cool. Now the other thing is, those icons are really big. And I mean really, really big. So going back into this, what we can do is, where's our view 3? We'll click on our view 3, we can close that. I'm just gonna open up that so you guys can actually see this. If we scroll down to the attribute, we can do size, and number 24, we don't want that. We're gonna deal with this one first, and what we're gonna do is we're just gonna say size, and we're gonna go 12. Oh, I didn't like that. Type string is not assigned to type number. So I need to do that. problem. 12 might be a little too small. So let's go 16. 16 is a lot better. I've also got to do the size of these particular fonts and so forth like that, but I'm just putting that off for a second. But however, I'm realizing that as I'm doing this, I need to also do the fonts. Now, the reason being is different fonts will behave differently on here, and usually you would tweak a few things, so padding and line heights, all that kind of fun stuff. Yeah, so and also I've got this on the big screen. If I put this on I don't have a laptop. Kindle Fire. It's not too bad. That, and I'm also zoomed in. This is what it'll look like normally. Oh, okay, yep. All right, cool. All right, so let's do our fonts. I also did some fonts on here. That's what I'm going to look up. Sorry, I'm just going to check a message, make sure. Alright, didn't respond. Alright, cool. Do the questions, font, Axios, layout, fonts. Alright, cool. One of the fonts that I probably would choose is that. However, that being said, if I go to Tailwind, sidebar and stuff like that, let's have a look at Flowbyte. Let's have a look at these. So I'm just going to inspect these fonts very, very quickly. I know you guys can't see this, but I'm going to bring this to the left. All right, so for that dashboard one, I'm having a look at the fonts. So we've got sans serif type of font. Like, all right, cool, that's fine. If we go go into here, let's go into here, let's do this again. So I'm just clicking on this one. Once again, we're going into the computed stuff. So we're going to go font family. They've got, once again, sans serif and so forth like that. So if I go into fonts, I have a look at this, I'm going to do that so you can actually see what's happening. I like Roboto. I also like the open sans down here. Yeah, and if I have a look at these, I'm going to write down some notes. So I'm going to go sidebar, sans serif font. So sans. Okay, I'm looking at the weights and seeing what other people have used. So the font weight is 500. And line height is 24. Okay, cool. I didn't see font size. Have that. All right, no, not a problem. I think that's enough information for this one. I'm gonna check this one too. They've got font size 14. So font size 14 pixels. Okay. I am zoomed in on that one. Yeah, it is very, very tiny. If we have a look at what I'm doing at the moment with this, I'm just going to, once again, select it, going to move this over. We're going to go into the inspector and then the computed part of things. We're clicking on that one. We don't exactly have the font size set here. That's perfectly fine. What we could potentially do is we could do the rules, and then we can, over here, font size 14 pixels. Way too tiny. Way too tiny. I think 18 pixels is good. So I'm just gonna go 18 pixels. We're also going to put in the line height. Now they've got 24. All right. If I move that to the right and I zoom back into our 200%, I think that's a good size. We've got to worry about the request for change. But once again, we'll worry about that in a minute. We will set up all the fonts and stuff like that. And I should do font weight is going to be 500. Now that doesn't show there, but that's fine. What we'll do, we'll go over here. We'll probably have a small icon in here with the aside. Now we did this on the aside menu bar list. So with this list down here, what we want to do, font size 18 pixels, line height is going to be 24 pixels. We've got the font weight at 500. And if we refresh, everything's looking fine. So our next plan of attack is, yeah, definitely the fonts. I do like the open sans, and what we're going to do is we're going to pick (18). I am going to purposely zoom in to 200%. I mean, that's nice. I do like that. Alright, I'm gonna get font. I'm gonna click on that. I'm gonna zoom out over here. This is where I've done other stuff too. So if I click on this one, if I click on the download, but I don't want that. All right, cool. All right, open sans. Gonna click on that. Sorry, we've got the 500. Oh, okay. I thought. Not what I want. Not what I want. Alright, download. Yeah, NearBeach 2. I'm just gonna quickly download that. We're gonna unzip it. Now, they're quite big. That will be a little bit better. The variable font, we don't want the variable font. Yeah, we don't want the variable font. All right, so with the static, what do we want? We want, with 500, that will be medium. So in, oops, wrong one. In here, we want open sans medium. And that's it. It is 103 kilobytes. Yay. Alright, cool. So we're going to go in here. We're going to do this. We've got the sites. We've got the view test bed. We've done the 2 mock-up. We want the source assets. And what I'm going to do, new folder, it's going to be called fonts. In here, we've got the fonts, and we're just going to not paste that font. Alright, in here, we got this. Okay, cool. We'll just leave it like that. Move that to trash. We're going to move that one to trash too because we'll handle that one next. In reality, I just want the OpenSens medium. I used the wrong shortcut key then. Alright, medium. Alright, use the Linux shortcut keys. Place that into fonts because we're trying to organize everything in this folder. Let's minimize that, let's minimize that, let's minimize that. Let's go into Vite fonts. Alright, yep. No, I'm quite happy with all of that. But what I want to do... Alright, cool, not a problem. In here... I hadn't quite finished with this yet. I've done something silly. I want to click on that. Hang on, get font. What I want to do, get embedded code. OpenSens. Cool. I just want that. Styles on value 500. Sorry, I should show Roman regular medium 500 on value. Yep. All right. Normal. Yep. Cool. So then I just copy this. If I go over here, I'm just gonna go all the way down. We're just gonna paste it in. Don't worry about that just yet. Font variation settings, we're not worried about that. Don't worry about that. I need to close the blind soon. We want that. Yes, it does. Alright, now the problem is I need to link it up. I need to tell it, hey, this is my font, and so forth with that. And Nocturnal with the treats. Sorry, I just noticed that. All right. Tell you what, we can do 2 birds with 1 stone. We can do the secret screen. For those wondering what's actually happening, Nocturnal has just redeemed the treats. So Socks gets some treats. Are you gonna get some treats, Socks? She's like, no. All right, where did the treats go? Okay, quickly Socks, entertain them. You like what? Alright, in your bed. No, don't. In your bed. You know what happens? I don't know why you keep testing this. In your bed. No. In your bed. You're not getting a treat until you get in. Come on, sweetie, in your bed. No, you get in and then you get the treats. Hey Max, you get a treat too. Alright. And there's an extra one. I might stand. Oh, it doesn't go any further. Alright, I'll move that. Sorry, Max, but I am going to need this and that. You're coming for the ride. Hey, buddy. Alright. Get back into it as, you know, Sock starts licking her bed, as she usually does. Alright, now the one thing I know I don't know how to do is to import these particular files. So, yes. Oh, give me a couple of seconds, I'm trying to put my sock back on properly. Alright. So I'm just going to click on that. I'm going to click on that. I'm just going to go vite import font file. And I'm just going to yeah, I'm just going to do that. I'm just going to do this. This is done a year ago, so close enough. So at the head, okay. So we can put this in here. When we actually do this with NearBeach, we will get it to copy over the font files into a particular spot, and we'll be like, all right, cool, the static files for these fonts are here. So it's going to be a lot simpler. But in this sort of case, because Vite's taking care of everything, what are you doing, Socks? We won't do that. All right, cool. I'm just going to do that. There we go. All right. I think it's just going to be like that. Let's go and edit the index file, wherever it is. I can never find it. There it is. I found it. Yay. HTML language. All right, cool. I got the head. Got all of that. And then I need. Don't think that's going to work. Yeah, I don't think that's going to work. All right. So view 3, right, fonts. I'm just going to do this. Okay, view feed. Because the thing I could potentially do, I don't want to spend too much time on this, because I could just include the fonts. In reality, get embed code, they're just up here. That's it. Oh, we do have an import. Yeah, I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to get rid of that. We do have an import. But we can also do the link. Oh, what can you do now, Socks? Oh, that's my nails. Alright. Just to speed things up, because I don't want to spend too long actually trying to figure out how this is done. When we've got a solution, when we do this for NearBeach, is I'm just going to do that. All right, we should now see in here that this should be those fonts. So if I bump that over to the left, we are going to open this up. We're going to hit computed. We're going to hit the dashboard one, this one. We should see font family open sans. It's not underscoring which one it is, which is a bit concerning for me. All right, to test this out, we're going to do a silly font. Cool, we're happy with this silly font. We're going to get this silly font. We're going to go up into here. We're going to go embedded code. We're just going to copy this code. We're going to go over here. We are going to, once again, paste it up here. We're just going to take all of this out. We're just going to paste it in. We're happy with that. We're just going to format the page. We're just going to go back over here. We are going to copy these 4 lines. We're going to go over into here. We're going to just comment just these 3 lines. Oops. Just those 3 lines. We're going to comment out. We're going to paste in what we want. We're just going to format this. Now it's got a problem somewhere. So I'm just going to delete those lines. That's fine. We know how to get back there. Then if we go back into the V app, boom, presto, it's working. So undo that, we're happy. And then we undo this, we're happy. So we know the font is working. I can hardly ever tell if a font is working and stuff like that. People have to actually point out, all right, cool, this is what you look for these particular fonts. So now that that's been done, what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep the size of the font how it is, because if I do it at 100, I think that looks reasonably good. Okay. Once again, I'll hand this to people to get feedback. And yeah. So let's do the icons very, very quickly. So in the aside stuff, we're gonna scroll all the way up. What we're gonna do is we're just gonna go size equals, and then we picked 16. Now this is gonna be 1 or 2 stops pixels smaller than the font. I've done that purposely. Now it doesn't line up perfectly yet, which is annoying the hell out of me. Surprisingly annoying the hell out of me. All right. Now, what can I do? Another thing which I can potentially do is I'll also do that with the Kanban board. I'll go down here and I'll go, all right, size equals 16. We'll just have to live with that. All right, cool. So now that we've got the size 16 down here, yeah, this is just not, yeah.
We have a look at that icon. Just not what we want it to do.
Alright, so I'm gonna do CSS span, align, center. Because it isn't text center. If I do this element and I go margin auto, still doesn't do it. And then if I go margin auto in here, still, yeah. Form. Translate. axis, negative 10 pixels. Still not doing it. All right. That won't work. Display block. That is looking a lot better. So I'm probably going to have to do the exact same thing, but that's not a problem. Not a problem at all. So with this, what we want to do, so we got this coming through. We're just going to shove a span around all of that. We're just going to cut that out. We're just going to paste that. We're going to put this on a new line. We're going to cut that out. We're going to paste that. We're just going to line everything up perfectly fine. There we go. We just did that. So I'm just going to go sidebar menu icon like so. I'm pretty sure we haven't used that yet. Famous last words. Down here, what we're going to do, a sidebar menu icon, and we're going to have the display as a block. We are going to have the transform translate in the y-axis by 1 pixel. Oh, the block doesn't work on that case. Yeah. All right. It only works on this one over here. So I'm just going to go class equals a sidebar menu plus. Like so. All right, cool. Everything falls back. Sweet. Now, what I'm also going to do is I'm actually going to move these down into 14. I think they look better the smaller they are. And I think they're lining up
so much better the smaller they are. The big one, that's perfectly fine.
All right, I'm going to keep them at 14. I think that's perfect. So size equals 14. Yeah. All right. No, not 145. Oof. Okay. All right. I think that's looking a lot nicer. I'm happy. Now we've just got to fix the request for change at the bottom. Now that's just because there isn't enough space. I'm happy with the text. I mean, if we bump off like that, yeah, we could potentially extend this. So if I just hit refresh everything, let's get this whole entire sidebar open. The height, yep, we're happy with that. We've got the width at 280. If I go up to, let's say, 340, we'll expand it and then we'll slowly contract it to where we want it to be. Now the next thing in here is to do with this. So I only need just a couple of pixels to get that in. So I'm just going to refresh. We're going to do it the other way now. I think that works. All right, I like that. There's something about this design that's this is something a designer would probably point out really quickly. There's something that's just saying it's just not that right yet, apart from all the colors and all that kind of fun stuff. The settings too. I can see the setting logo needs to be shrunk, so I need to go down here, cog. Done. Perfect. So that's looking a lot better. I need to fix this logo up here now in the nav bar. Alright. So in the nav bar, we've got the logo. What I want to do is we're just going to have a look in here and we're just going to type in search. We're just going to simple search like this. Yeah, that's it. That's all we need. So what I need to do, import search from the lose into view next. Easy done. We're all happy with all of that. We're just scrolling all the way down here. Actually, no, we'll go back up here first. So we've got the search. We've got the search input. This is the search input before. So what I'm going to do, actually this is the label, sorry. What we're going to do is we're just going to put in search and we're just going to put in size equals 14 for the moment. We're going to get rid of all of this because we don't need it. That should be that. Hold on, sorry, little case. There we go. Then we go over here. No, I've broken it. So I'm just having a quick think how I would, because there's user search, but we just want search, see in action, and we want it in view. Yeah, that's what we've got, and they've got a capital. All right. Going to scroll down. I'm just going to go, all right, cool. Search, sweet. We're just going to go over here. Nothing yet. All right. That is annoying. Have I done something stupid? But we should be using it here. I All right. Oh, this is in the old. Okay, no, I figured this one out. I need to actually do components. Sorry, this is in the options API. Okay. In fact, I probably could just move this out of this. Because I can see this is having issues. All right. And I forget if this is an array or an object, and I think if memory serves me correctly, I got that wrong. It is too. But it works. All right. However, I want it down just that tiniest bit. Could I do that on the label? Transform, translate the Y, let's say 1 pixel. Let's just keep going up. We're going to do 2 pixels for this one. All right, cool, not a problem. So this will be the label. However, we should be using the... No, we're not. All right, cool. We'll use the label. This will be transform, translate in the Y direction by 2 pixels. I'll be happy with that. And then presto. All right, cool. Another thing we didn't do. The sidebar menu list we didn't actually increase. So I'm just going to quickly do this. I'm just going to bump straight into this. And what we want to do is we want it up by 3 pixels. That gives us that. So the request for change looks so much better. All right, cool. Okay. So far, I'm happy with that. Just trying to think. What else will I need for this? Just for the sidebar and stuff like that. I think this is looking really good so far. We'll need a way to collapse it. All right, cool. This is where we go onto here. And this is where we have a look at this. We could potentially use one of these icons. Yeah, all right. Okay, cool. Going back to this one, what we want to do is arrow left to line. All right, we're just gonna find somewhere to place it. We'll do that in a second. So up here, I'm kind of thinking of putting that all the way over here. So we've got this over here, someone clicks on it and it shifts everything back. If we actually have a look at what UTrack does, because I know UTrack uses a sidebar, they've got the collapse down here. But the problem is, if we do the collapse, we could potentially... We want to hide it on mobile phone. That's the problem. If I do this, let's say I'm on mobile phone, let's not say I'm on this, let's say I'm on the iPhone 6. see what they're doing here. They don't actually have menu on this. They've got the logo and stuff like that, which is what we'll be doing. But on here, they've got the menu. All right, no, I like that idea. Removing the icon on mobile phone. Oh, and we've got an ad break. Terribly sorry. So, yeah. Which reminds me of talking about design, that ad time. I need to... Hang on, I think I can... Oh, now I'm breaking stuff. All right, ad time text, open that up. Let's select font. Oh, I can't put anything behind it. All right, no, I wouldn't worry about it. But yeah, it's ad time. All right, almost. There we go. Welcome back, everyone. So yeah, I've been looking at this and I'm kind of like, on mobile, we'll treat this slightly different. On mobile, we'll have a menu option where we can sort of destroy it. Now, on desktop version, they've got one that just collapses and so forth like that, which could be useful. Oh, sorry. I mean, it could be useful, then we collapse it into just the search functionalities with those icons. That shouldn't be too hard to actually implement, but also at the same time, they've got it so everything lines up. So when you do collapse it, it's really close to the edge. We don't have that closeness to the edge, but that being said, we can implement that closeness very easily. We can tweak this a little bit more, which I'm going to do. So once again, we've got this open. We've just got it set to 280. I'm just going to shrink stuff until we're kind of happy to where it resides. I think 255 looks good. So let's do that. Let's do 280 pixels. Let's find out where this is. So we said 255. We're just going to do 55. Oops, 55. We've also got another 280 that I've got to fix up very, very quickly. We're going to go to 255. That's with the sidebar open, so everything now matches up perfectly. So there we go. It's getting a little bit more snug. I'm also looking at the settings. That seems very far from the very, very bottom. That is because I've just got this set to that. I might bump that down to, I think, I might just get rid of that. Where's all that padding coming from? All right. Because the height minus the top stuff, which is the padding, which will be this up here, which will be, yeah, the padding 10 and 10, and that's why we do that. But I can get rid of that padding now. Yeah, all right. So this is just me now fiddling around with stuff. So if I get rid of that, then I can, yeah, padding 0 and 4. And that is for the aside. So get rid of this. We're going to go 0 and 4. I'm going to bump over here. Everything's sort of doing this sort of crazy stuff now, but that's not a problem. What we could potentially do in here is So we've got the aside. That's 100%. However, the logo at the top doesn't work. That's not a problem, because we can add a margin top to that. All right, cool. Yep, I know what I want to do. Heading, all right, cool. That's perfectly fine to do. We're all happy with that. It's this aside bar. Now we need the height being 100%. So we're happy with that. I'm just going to hit refresh. Cool. So the aside bar should be 100%. It goes from the top to the bottom. All right. That's what I want to hear. That's 661.5, 661.5. Cool. All right. Awesome. Next thing I want to do is with the settings. Now we've got the abide settings. I can just bump that down to 10 pixels. Even, look, Jesus, let's get the hell out of me. You're like, ah! Yes. There you go. You're getting scratches. Now, do you want to hop up on the bed? You're like, no, not really. Come on. Yes, come on. No. Jump. No. Yeah, jump. Fine. Come on. Give me. There you go. Say hi to everyone. All right. So, this menu will be padding top is going to be the 25. Yeah, that works. That works. I've got to do the logo. All right, cool. So starting from the top, we're going to do NearBeach logo. Cool. Just do this. We're just going to do margin top. We had, I think, 25 pixels. Figure out, no, that's way too big. 10 pixels. Perfect. All right, the dashboard and all that kind of stuff we're happy with. Going back down to our sidebar settings, we're just going to go down here. We're going to delete that. Now it is dead at the bottom. But I think that's fine. Cool. Now, if we were to, for example, shrink this so you just got the icons and stuff like that, I mean, that possibly could work. The one thing which I don't want to have is have the collapse at the bottom. Because the expand will be up the top, and that's why. And this will go over stuff. So if you're on a smallish screen, it'll hover. It'll just go over things like a normal menu does. Okay. What are you doing, Socks? Causing trouble? She's like, yes. All right, so just gonna think how the collapse would work. thing is, I could have this as menu, the big X. I mean, that would work. But I also at the same time wanted to have the NearBeach logo there. All right, I want to see one thing. Let's just put things in. Let's see if it works. If it doesn't, that's fine. All right, cool. Let's scroll up. So first thing, we've got the NearBeach logo. And that's just the background thing. Yeah. Not a problem. What I want to do, I'm just going to open it up and I'm just going to go arrow to the left line. I'm going to go size equals, yeah, let's do 32. Let's just make it look horrible at the start. Boom. Horrible. And sort of works. Strangely, it works there. I don't know why. Not on that side though. But if I go align content to the end, display flex, justify content end. That works. Somehow. I'll get a designer to have a look at it because clearly we all know that a lot of the times when I design things it doesn't work. And I just think it does. Alright, we'll actually align the content. Actually no, it's align items end. Or actually center. Just off by a pixel. It's because we transition that the pixel. All right, sorry, the other icon. Okay, I think that size works. Alternatively, we could go with a cross, which I think also makes more sense. So we could go with a simple cross. Just double check. Oh yeah, yep. It's just an X. And then we just go X, and then in here, got a basic X, but I might put it up here. So if we were to go over here, once again, these would be display flex, and then we'll justify content at the, not the start, sorry, at the end. And then we'll align items at the start. That way it kind of makes sense it being there. Yeah, all right. Might make it a little bit bigger. And I'm not talking by much. I'm talking 16 by maximum standards. I think that's better. So one thing I want to do, NearBeach logo. We've got the height, we've got the margin top 10. I might actually change that. I'll come back to that. So first thing is display flex. Justify content, it is not centered, it is going to be to the end. Align items is not going to be centered, that's going to be start. And then if we go back here, you'll notice the reason why I did that was because I wanted that at the top. That being said, if I add padding top instead, and let's go 10 pixels or something like that, it's just going to bring that down. All right. So we're going to do something else. It's going to be in here, but it's going to be its own element. So we're going to do something like that. So I'm happy with that being there, but I have no control over that, I don't think. If I go into here, stroke width, default class, yeah, all right. I don't have much control over it. Not a problem. This is where we create new class, new div element. So I'm just gonna go class equals aside close. And we're just going to put it in there. Whoops. Like so. All right. As you can see, this is all rendered. This is all up here. The aside close. It is taking some of this away from here. And what we want to do is we want to go. I think absolute. Oops, I was meant to go right. And then the top. Something like that. I like that. Anyway, I'm going to go down here again. The NearBeach logo. We had a margin top being, I think, 27 pixels. No, it wasn't that big. I forgot. All right, let's just brute force this. 7. All right, cool. And what we want to do, aside close. Oops. We're going to do that. Oops. Won't let me do that thing sometimes. So we want position absolute. We want it on the right by 0. We want it from the top, and I think it was 8 pixels, something like that. We'll figure that out in a second. Right 8, top 2. Then we just got to wait for a little while. We just hit refresh and there we go. I don't mind the color. I think that is subtle enough. But what I want to do is that's a very small button. Now I could do some padding. The reason being why I want some padding, that extra padding means if I click here, it hits the element. Or it should, I think, in theory. We'll test that out in a second. So what I want it to do is we want to import methods for this. So this is part of the view. Hang on. This is where I gotta look up the new way of doing things in the composition stuff. All right, export default. We've done all of that. Oh, we just make a method. Oh, all right. Yeah, no, that's pretty. Yeah, all right. Yeah. Methods. All right, and this is it's just a function call. Yeah, function. Close sidebar. This is going to be a void. It's not going to return anything. This is where what are we doing? I don't know. We're definitely closing something. So this will be sidebar store dot toggle sidebar, right? Who knows? And what we want to do is v-on click equals close sidebar. Okay, don't know if this will work, but we'll find out. All right, I'm going to go very close to it. Boom, perfect. So yeah, that's why I have the padding extra wide. It's just to help people. If we just refresh, there it is there. We'll add in that padding and then we'll adjust the size and all that kind of fun stuff. So what we'll do is we'll go aside close, we're gonna go padding, we're gonna go 8 pixels. It's gonna look horrible, we're gonna fix it, not a problem. Because we've got the rights and stuff like that. We can just go, all right, cool, right down to 1 pixel, the top, -4, perfect. So right will be 1 pixel, the top will be -4. We just go back over here, we're just gonna reload everything, we're happy with that. And that way if someone is like, cool, whoops, done. Now, if we want to show our menu, this is our next sort of step. So I'm happy so far with that closing stuff. Once again, I'll get a design to have a look at it. They'll probably look at it and be like, why? Knowing how badly I designed, so yeah. Cool, next step. So I'm just trying to think. All right. So when we close this, we want the ability for someone to be able to get back into there. Let's have a look at this. Let's go back into the icons. Let's look up menu. I think keep it stock standard menu, cool. We'll go into the nav bar, we'll scroll all the way up to the top. This is in the old version, so yep. Just do that. Menu, we need to put this in here, so if we do that, we'll go menu. I know this is throwing up issues, being like, oh, I'm having problems. Yeah, it's just, yeah, I don't like that. I think we've also got to go in here and go setup. No, that's for the new way of doing things. All right, going down here, we've got the nav bar, we've got the nav bar search and all that kind of stuff, and then we've got the profiles. Now in here, what we want to do is we want to have a menu, we want to include a size, we're going to go 16. Cool. Like so. It's perfect. Look at that. Get up there. We're gonna have to wrap that around a div. That's not a problem. So what we do is we just go div class equals nav bar show menu. Get this. We're just gonna paste this up in here. We're all happy with that. We're just gonna go over here. We're just gonna hit refresh. We're gonna close this, and then we're gonna deal with this. So what we could potentially do, display flex. We could also do justify content, center, align items, center. Perfect. Now another thing is I need some more spacing around this. However, I want there to be a friendly zone. So I'm gonna go padding. I'm gonna go 0, and then I'm gonna go 5 pixels. Realize I don't like the padding. I'm gonna go 15, 0, 0. That's a lot better. Yeah, I like that. It's not too bad. Oops, wrong copy. This is nav bar show menu, so we're going to go down here. We're just going to go up here. We're just going to go .nav bar show menu. Easy done. And then we're just going to paste those in. We're going to get rid of that extra little doozy. We're just going to format all of this. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go nav bar show menu, but also at the same time we're going to go sidebar open, and we're going to go display none, so it hides. So if we go over here, we're going to hit refresh. It didn't hide. There's a bit of a pity. Now that might be because I might have the wrong Nava. All right. Common. I don't know why my brain keeps doing that. It changes the V's and R's all the time. All right, cool. Nav bar, show menu. I'm just gonna hit refresh. It's not doing exactly what I want. I'm gonna go refresh again. We're gonna have a look at it. It might be the case that I need 3 levels. And Marek, how are you? Yeah, it's looking a lot better now, isn't it? So yeah, I've purposely decided not to pick any colors at the moment, apart from those basic light blues and stuff like that, because I think really I'm terrible at picking colors. I will get a designer to help me with that. So yeah, yes, she likes to sit here. So yeah, how are you going? Hopefully you're going well. We're almost finished with the navbar design. Once again, I'm going to put this up on Twitter and Blue Sky for anyone and everyone's feedback. So feel free to add comments there and so forth. Why don't you keep the header as is and make the sidebar pop up from underneath it? Oh, I can't visually see that. What do you mean exactly? So if it was closed and you click on that, you mean pop up like down here? As in like, I keep forgetting what they're called. Just give me 2 seconds, get Bootstrap. We'll have a look at the navbar section. Not like that, I'm assuming. Hold on. So I'm trying to do something like that where it appears off at the side. Yeah, sorry, if you've got examples, do feel free to post it. I don't know if that's going to work, that link. All right. Okay. Feel free to post it when I post this requesting feedback. So yeah, well, give me 2 seconds. I am just getting a call. Sorry about that. That was about food. I realize I haven't eaten much. You like the backdrop effect? Oh, sorry. I've lost the context. Was that on for the Bootstrap? Where essentially, yeah. Is that what you mean with the top down? Potentially, but I don't know how to design it. But if you mean the backdrop where that goes all grey and stuff like that, that might be an idea to implement. But once again, I'll talk with designers, get everyone's feedback and so forth like that. So it might be the case that someone likes to keep that this bar open because they might be working on stuff and they might go, all right, I need to open up this and not look at this. Look at ChatGPT's sidebar. All right. Cool. Give me a couple of seconds. I'm actually curious if I'm actually not logged in. All right. Hello. What can you tell me about your sidebar? It's because I'm not logged in. All right. Good point. I'm just not logged in here. So that's why I'm not seeing it. All right. Can you open this sidebar? I would like to see it. Thank you. And give it a love heart. No, it doesn't have the control over itself. All right, on desktop, the sidebar with the hamburger menu. I can't see any hamburger menu. Oh, I just killed that chat. Oh well. No, I've got it logged in on my laptop, so I'm happy to have a look at it and see what it's like. If memory serves me correct, I just don't have a visual memory. That's the problem. I can't recall what it looks like exactly, but I know that there's a little blocks and so forth like that. So yeah, definitely we'll have a look at that. All right. Oh, is he still? Oh, he's still streaming. All right, cool. That's good. Is he what? No, all right, cool. All right. So I'm gonna fix up this little this little thing first, because we should have it just disappearing soon, and I think I know why. Sorry, just give me a couple of seconds. It's this one here. So if it is, it should be .sidebar open. Then we've got it. Actually, it won't be like that. And then it'll be nav bar. That's where I have to go back over here. So sidebar open, then nav bar, and then nav bar show menu. And then that should be something like that. And then we get rid of that and so forth. That. Cheers. Yeah, thank you. You're working on this site. Did you post a link? If you posted a link, I didn't get it. All right, so I'm going to refresh. If we click on this, perfect. Now we're just going to get that to work. That's going to be really, really simple to get working. So in here, what we want to do is we're using the sidebar store. We've got the methods. We've got that methods, actions. All right, cool. Essentially, what we want to do is on this click. So I'm just going to do something like that. I'm just going to go V on. Click, and then we're just going to go toggle sidebar. Now, ooh, it's not letting me. So I'm just going to quickly write up a method to do it. This will be a simple open sidebar. That, and it will be this dot toggle. It's not wanting to do it, so this dot use sidebar. Actually, it'll be this $store. It won't. All right. You know the Vercel's by default free domain, right? I actually don't know anything about the Vercel's pricing or anything like that. Yeah, I haven't used. I might have used it in the past. I know I've used one of those particular sites to host one of my blogs a long, long time ago, but I haven't used it in a long, long time. It's either Vercel or it was one of the other ones. Yeah, I don't remember. We're talking, this is like 5 years ago now. Alright, so this is annoying because now I can't. Alright, import that, stores, sidebar TS. Alright, cool. This is part of the Vue 3. This will be the PNR. I just don't know how to use this yet. Getting started. This would be for the actions. So we've got the. All right, cool. Going down here, constantly use define stores, actions. All right, cool. I just want to const store because that we're not setting it up like that though. The options. All right, default store const. All right, user. Okay. Oh, we've got to use that. Okay, so we've got to use the setup in this sort of case. Just add shop, cohook, shop in front of its domain. I share it on Discord. All right, yep. Yeah, do it on Discord. All right, so can't do that anymore. That's not a problem. The map actions, I don't think. I'm just gonna go up here. We're gonna do the setup. Let's have a look at this. So setup const counter store. So const toggle sidebar. All right, cool. Equals use. Hang on, how that they've got counter store equals use counter store. All right.
Cheers. Thank you, Socks. No. Stop knocking things off my desk.
Sorry, Socks is knocking things off my desk. If you're wondering who I'm talking to, we want the this will be called sidebar store equals use sidebar store. Cool, sweet. We won't need to put that into the methods anymore, so I think we can get rid of that like that, and then in here we can go sidebar store. Maybe not. All right, so let's go methods and then toggle. Let's go open menu. Actually, let's go open aside. And it'll be this dot side. I can't see any chat channels. You might need to actually approve the terms and conditions in one of the chat channels, which is usually just putting an emote on something or selecting if you want to be notified by notifications. All right, methods this dot counter store dot increment. Oh, I've got to return it. All right, that's silly. Return, and then that will be the sidebar store. All right, we're getting there. We're getting there. And then down here, I'm just going to see if I can skip ahead. Sidebar store dot toggle. No, we can't. Okay, not a problem. We'll go open aside here. This will go on here, and then we'll go sidebar store dot toggle. Counter store, and that is use. Yep. Sidebar store. Where are you? Sorry, I haven't used this state management system just yet. So still working out its still working it out. So we've got the actions. So we've got the setup. So we've got the setup, we've got the const, we've got that. All right, so I'm happy with that. And then with the methods, that's just the counter store and then the increment. And then what I want to do is I'm just going to copy that. We're going to go into the nav bar. We're just going to do a dot. We're just going to paste that in. We're going to leave it like that. That would be this one, Pinia. So, I think not the weekend that just passed, but the weekend before that, I was doing some research, been writing lots of notes, and essentially when I had a look at Vuex and stuff like that, they quite literally on the documentation said it is no longer the default, and it is time to sort of move on to Pinia. So here it is, as of the official state management library of Vue has changed to Pinia. Pinia has almost the exact same enhancements, enhanced API as Vuex 5 described in that, and so forth with that. It will still be maintained, however, it is unlikely to add new functionalities to it and stuff like that. And I'm like, I need to future-proof this. This is the perfect time for me to actually do this. So yeah, and Cranberry Wine, how are you? Sorry, I just saw your message. Is Vuex alive? It's yes. However, this particular line, however, it is unlikely to add new features to it. It can be installed on the same project. If you're migrating existing Vuex application to Pinia, it might be a suitable option, which is, we might actually take that up on this and slowly move everything off the old version. So, yeah. So I'm just jumping on Pinia, and I'm like, all right, cool. Now, that doesn't like that, and whoops. There you go. If I close that and then that does nothing, that's really annoying. This sidebar .toggle sidebar is not a function. Boo. Oh, yep. Cheers. I can have a look at it after stream. I will be finishing stream shortly. I don't know why it's not finding the toggle sidebar. Because that is an action. And when I go here, hey Mix. If we go up here, we do have actions. We've got the increment. We've got that. I got that. Define store. Yeah. Yep. Counter. Yeah. We've got the sidebar state. All right. With setup, while composition API is not for everyone, the setup hook can make Pinia easier to work with while using the options API. No extra mapping help needed. And yeah, that's another thing, is we'll probably be moving away from the options API. Without setup, okay, that's what we kind of had before. So I'm gonna move back to what we did before, because that's clearly not working and it's annoying the hell out of me. I'm just going to copy that. Oops, wrong. Copy and paste. Just going to paste that in. Map store. We want to use the sidebar store, and then that will be toggle sidebar. All right, cool, and then that will be this dot toggle sidebar, like that. I don't think it'll work down here. No, doesn't work. Not a problem. All right, let's have a look at this. Let's hit refresh. So we've got this, we can close this, we can open this, and presto. All right, the next thing we could potentially do is have a look at transitions to improve this. However, that being said, we don't want to jump too far ahead of ourselves. I want feedback for this, see if it's any good. I also want to set up the the routing properly and stuff like that. Cranberry 1. I like the way Pinia works, but when things get big, Pinia, like state management, becomes hard to manage. Yeah, no, I would agree with that. I like libraries like Redux because it makes obvious when state changes and you can see what the fuck is happening. Fair enough. I also will be stripping back a lot of our state management in NearBeach because we no longer need it. The one good thing about the routes is I no longer need to pass that information to state management to handle it. I can actually grab it from the routes itself. So stuff like location ID and what the destination I can grab. What else was I thinking of? Yes, sorry. There was something else I was going to point out. It does actually state in here when you should use it, and I did read this the other day and I can never find it now that I'm looking this up. All right. Alright, I can't find it. I honestly can't find it. What is store? When I should use a store should contain data that can be accessed throughout your application. This includes data that is used in many places, usually information that is displayed on the nav bar, as well as data that needs to be preserved throughout the pages, a very complicated multi-step form, and so forth. That. On the other hand, you should avoid including in local store local data that could be hosted in a component. Instead, the visibility of an element local to a page. Not all applications need access to global state, but if yours need ones, Pinia will make your life easier. So yeah, there's also other cool stuff, and I think the music has stopped. I'm just going to hit play again. Terribly sorry about that. Just because I've been reading a lot about this lately. It's not props. It's not fall through. It's not provide and inject. So if you've got some data that needs to go down, for example, like this, you could potentially use props. You could use state management for this, or you could use provide and inject. So the idea being is at the root, this will provide and it will inject that data down there and so forth like that. So I'm going to have a look at this to see if I could potentially use this to solve a lot of the other sort of data problems I've got. So for example, at the moment for NearBeach, state management will handle a Kanban board along with all the Kanban cards and so forth like that. And then when you click on a certain thing, it fetches that data from the state management to display on the screen and so forth like that. And I'm just wondering, well, do I need state management if I've got tools like this? Will this work for me and so forth like that? It might not. That's fine. So yeah. All right. Alright, I'm getting sidetracked. That's fine. It's the end of the night. My food's coming. So yeah, I'm wrapping up. I'm just waiting to hear a car come, and then I'll jump off stream very, very quickly. But all right, cool. I'm actually liking this now. I like the simplicity of this and the design. I just need someone to come through and be like, all right, cool, this doesn't work, this does work, and so forth like that. So yes, all right. We've also got to do the mobile. So if I jump onto mobile view, let's do the 6 and stuff like that. I mean, the navbar kind of works on mobile like that. However, that being said, what I would probably end up doing is doing it full screen and having bigger icons. And the reason being is, if you think about this, those menu items are going to be really tiny. I'll zoom in. those menu items are going to be really tiny and hard to actually see. So I'll need to expand out to utilize a lot of that space. We just haven't done that yet for here because I just wanted to get this to look like that. So yeah. All right. Yeah, that's definitely going to be a next stream thing. However, that being said, we can do that, and I kind of like that. And I'm also trying to think, how can I? Oh, I might. Holy hell! I've forgotten their name, and I already. Give me a free product. Browser stack. There we go. Alright, sign in. Sorry, gotta do the secret screen stuff. Bear with me. Sorry, this is just taking a little while and I was looking at my phone, being distracted. Alright, we're in. I'm just gonna bring that up. And yeah, let's just use an iPhone 14. Now I might need to reinstall something, but it should work. Alright, I am wanting to connect local start, local testing, download local binary. Oh yeah, that'll be fine there. Alright, and then what we need to do is we need to go over here. I'm just going to open up a new terminal. We're just going to go straight into, not our document, into our downloads. And we are going to paste that. Did I put it in the downloads? I'm not so sure now. Over the folder location. Yeah, downloads, it's right there. I need to... Yes, socks. I need to unzip it. No? Oh, there we go. Yep. Alright. There you go. It just had the quotations on it. Alright. Cool. Let's go back into this. This is going to be a very, very quick sort of thing that we're just having a look at it, getting the feel, and so forth like that. So on here, what we want to do, we want to click down here. We just want to go localhost. I keep forgetting the port number. It's 5173. So 5173. I can't type. We're just going to hit enter. It shouldn't take too long to boot up.
What's the matter, socks?
Alright, cool. That's how it's going to look. And if you're used to your phone, have a look at the phone, look at it, think of the phone, a third of the thing, and be like, it doesn't quite work. Also, something that I didn't realize, and this is why we should be testing on devices like this, is we've got some naked space up here. You know, I didn't realize that. Oh, I got out of them. All right. Anyway, I'm going to call it there. My food's here. Let's go raid someone. I think the Copperjo would be great to raid. Let's bump him up like that. Let's go. Let's go raid. And all right. Cool. I'm going to dismiss that ad. Anyway, thank you very much, everyone, for being here tonight. It has been wonderful. We got a lot done. Yeah, no, I'm happy with the design. So yeah, I'll post the design very, very shortly, and yeah, let's go rate Copperjo. And for those on YouTube, sadly you won't be able to follow us, but thank you very much for being here, and I'm hoping to see you next time. So yeah, thank you. And don't forget to like and subscribe. It actually does really help. So yeah, please. Thank you.